Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos, and today I'm going to explain some strategies for the Mists of Tirna Scithe maze that may help you get through that with a little bit less pain. One tool I'm going to be using here is mythictrap.com. They have a simulation thing that you can use to practice your identifying of what the correct icon is going to be. This can be really helpful because on that boss fight, you want to identify the correct one very quickly to target the mob, because for those who don't know, there's a maze where there will be these 4 symbols, and the correct one will be the right path to go through, and the wrong one will cost you 30 seconds. And then on the boss fight, the correct one will be the mob to kill, and so it's very important to be able to identify this quickly. So let's talk a little bit about the exact rules of this, the basic rules, and then some more advanced tips I have for how to deal with this in practice. The basic rules of this is that for each of the 4 symbols, there are 3 characteristics. There's the shape, which is either a leaf, like these two, or a flower, like these two. There's whether or not there's a circle around it. So these two have circles around it, and these two don't. And then there's whether or not the shape is filled in or not. So this leaf is filled in, and these 3 shapes are empty. And the way that this game works is that whichever of those characteristics has a 3-to-1 split, whichever one has an odd thing out, that odd one out is the correct answer for the maze. So, for instance here, there's 2 with a circle and 2 without a circle. There's 2 flowers and 2 leaves, so no odd ones out on either of those characteristics. But there's only 1 filled in shape and 3 empty shapes. So we can identify here that it's going to be the filled in shape, right? Now there are some further ways that you can optimize this a little bit further. There are spots where you can see combinations of 2 or 3 shapes, and they can actually give you a lot of information about the rest of the maze. For instance, the boss room is always going to be where you go after 5 to 7 rooms in the maze. So if you get to a spot where the boss room is going to be, like you've done your 7 rooms, the boss room is going to be the way to go every single time there. And similarly, if you get to a room that is adjacent to the boss room after only 4 rooms, the boss room can't be the correct way to go. So keeping that in mind can sometimes, after you've done enough goes of Mists of Tirna Scithe, you can start to get a pretty good instinct for when it's going to be time to go boss and when it can't be time to go boss. And similarly, there are some rooms in the maze that are just off, like dead-end rooms, or that can be dead-end rooms depending on how you've pathed so far, and you're never gonna cut yourself off from going back a certain way. So doing that can help you eliminate some possible answers. That still won't necessarily give you enough information to come up with the correct door, but sometimes it might. Sometimes it can, once you start getting a really good feel for how this works. So again, let's take a quick look at this one. Here again, we have the 1 filled and 3 empty, so we know it's going to be the filled here. Here we have 2 flowers, or 3 flowers, and 1 leaf, so it's going to be the leaf, right? And the other characteristics are 2 and 2. 2 filled, 2 empty, 2 with a circle, 2 without a circle. So it's going to be the leaf here. Sometimes you can identify what's going to happen without seeing the 4th door, right? So for instance, if we had this set and the first 3 you looked at were this one, and this one, you would know for a fact that it was going to be the last spot, right? Because you'd already seen 3 flowers. So as soon as you see 3 of a characteristic, you know that 4th one is actually the correct answer without even having to necessarily go look at it, because it has to be, right? Everything is either 2 and 2 or 3 and 1. There's no 4 and 0 splits possible, right? It must be a leaf there. Similarly, if you saw 2 filled in flowers, right? Even if you just saw these 2 filled in flowers, and then you saw this empty leaf, you wouldn't even need to see this one to know that the empty leaf was actually the correct door, right? If you just saw these 3 symbols, you would know the empty leaf was the correct door to go through. And that's because it's either going to be the only empty one, or it's going to be the only leaf, right? It's because these 2 are both filled flowers. So when you find 2 symbols that share 2 characteristics, and then you find a symbol that is different on both of those characteristics, it's always going to be that one. And that can be a little shortcut that will help you as well with this. Doesn't work for everybody. Everybody's minds works a little bit differently when you are handling this. Some people, really need to see all 4. Some people like to keep repeating out loud what they've seen so far. So for that, you could say, you could call these out even over voice chat by saying something like filled flower, empty leaf, filled flower circle, empty flower circle. I'd recommend against making the calls like no circle, because that adds a lot of syllables and it'll slow you down a little bit. But if that helps you keeping them all of the same length in terms of how long each call is, go for it. One thing you can do as well is that you actually can see what the symbols are when somebody else is standing next to them. So if you're in a group that's able to do it, you can just all go and spread to each of the 4 doors, and then instead of having to keep this in your head, you can just look around and see all of them. I can't tell you the amount of times that we've gone in, called out all 4, looked at all 4, and then by the time we've gotten to that 4th one, we've forgotten what the first one was, right? So if you just keep somebody back there, particularly in the rooms that are nice and small, that can help you out a lot with this maze as well. Anyways, these are just some tips. If you don't play healer, you can just tell your healer to do all this as well, and that's totally a valid answer too. So best of luck to those healers out there. I would recommend if you want to just practice on this site as well. This site is a nice place to go to try this over and over again until you start getting a really good hang of it. So I'll have a link in the description below to this. Site's a very useful one for a lot of other M+ stuff, but this little tool in particular, very helpful minigame for honing your skills at the Mists of Tirna Scithe maze. If this video helped, remember to like and subscribe and stuff. Check out my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/Ratnos. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.